Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video. It's another paid request, this time from Jonathan. Thank you so much for your generosity. Really appreciate it. And for those interested in requesting pretty much any type of videos or topics, reactions, what have you, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. And this is for the 2012 film Deadfall. Now, this is a film that has a pretty good cast, but the story is kind of meh. It seems like a movie that'd be much more deeper than it really is, or than it seems to think it's deeper than it really is. And yeah, it throws in these characters, but they don't really have as much depth. And it kind of, even the cinematography is pretty decent, showcasing the snow, showcasing the cold of the area and period it's taking place in, meaning the time of the year. And the cast, you got Eric Bana, who I liked as an actor. I liked him in the 2003 Hulk film. I know, I'm the only one. Olivia Wilde, which I don't really care about what she does nowadays, but I have liked her and stuff like the TV show House and Cowboys and Aliens. Chris Christopherson, wonderful older established actor. Sissy Spacek from starring Terry back in the day in the 70s. Charles Hunnam, I see him in him stuff. He's tolerable here. Treat Williams, may he rest in peace. He stars as the sheriff. Well, not star, but he's in the film. And pretty much the story is Eric Bana and Olivia Wilde are brother and sister. Them in the third person. They have just robbed a place. I want to say it was Vegas. I could be wrong. But anyway, they just running from a robbery. It's snowing. The car crashes. Well shot car crash. The way it swerves and the slow motion when it flips, it's nicely filmed. And you can tell Eric Bana's not that good of a guy because there's a cop that comes by and he immediately shoots the guy. Although the sister doesn't seem too bothered with it. And pretty much you got their story, and then you got Charlie Hunnam's story, where he just got out of prison. He was a boxer. You get the idea that he threw a fight. He was told he would get this money, it would get him better, but then some people found out, and he was the only one to get punished. So when he gets out of jail, he wants to come home for Thanksgiving. His parents are played by Chris Christopherson and Sissy Spacek. He meets this guy who's an acquaintance and says, "You fucked me over. How come I'm the only one that got in the jail? You're the one that started this. You're the one that got this proposition going. You're the one that set everything up." And the guy's being an asshole. "Oh, sure, I'll give you the money." Then tries to beat him up, so Hunnam attacks him in self-defense. Thinks he killed the guy, but he didn't. Doesn't find that out till later. So he runs off and wants to just get home to Thanksgiving. And the movie's trying to be this deep story about family dynamics, but it's just something not there in the story. It doesn't go as deep as it could have, and instead you kind of have these little set pieces that happen, as well as this kind of lame love story. Because Eric Bana and Olivia Wilde, they decide to separate and they don't get to the border on their own terms. So you have Olivia Wilde's journey, where she's almost hit by Charlie Hunnam. He picks her up. And then their love story, I don't buy into it. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's just the wanty way it's developed, where they're together, then all of a sudden they're in bed with each other, and I didn't really see how they fell in love with each other. I didn't really see that development as worthwhile as maybe the script thought it would. Meanwhile, Eric Bana, this almost random bit of business where he sees he's going through the cold in the woods, and there's a house in the middle of nowhere, and there's a stepfather being pissy at this mom and her baby and this little girl, and again, being supremely pissy and assholish, and Eric Bana shoots him, brings the mom who's knocked out into the cold, and the baby, and the little girl, and has a dialogue with the little girl. I guess as a viewer, you're supposed to associate with maybe this is how Eric Bana thought of his own dad, and the little girl reminds him of his sister that he needs to protect, just like he protected this little girl and her family. Also, you get a bit of idea that Eric Bana may have incestual feelings for his sister, Olivia Wilde. Ultimately, the cops find him, he escapes, and you have a little bit of snowmobile chase where a cop or two get killed. And some of the dialogue is pretty cringy. Like another family dynamic, which really goes nowhere, is you have the Sheriff Tree Williams, who's not in the film as much, Sally, and his character, they just make him a complete asshole. And then his daughter, who's also in the police force, and the daughter might be getting to the FBI, and the father treats her like shit, saying lines like, this is during like a police meeting, like all these other cops, and then his daughter is a fellow cop, and treat the sheriff as saying, "Oh, you can't come out with us. What if you had to change your tampon?" Like trying really hard to be like, well, he's this asshole because my mom died and you can't go over it, and the other person goes, well, it's been years. Nothing comes of that though. Nothing really comes of that. There's really no other deeper development or arc, or it's brought up and then really nothing comes of it. And other dialogue, when Eric Bana shoots the asshole stepdad and brings the girl and the family in, he's saying a line like, I'm like your angel from a storm to remove that man from your life. Good for you. Okay, USA. Who gives a shit? I thought the Olivia Wilde, Charlie Hunnam, they fell too quickly into love, and they try to have some bonding moments, like them building a snowman. I'm waiting for the fucking song, "Build a Snowman." There's no depth to Tree Williams' character. He's just an asshole. Chris Christopherson and Sissy Spacek are great actors. They're given not much to do. They kind of just sit in the same set in like a kitchen, living room setting. Maybe talk a little bit on the phone. And then everything comes together where Charlie and Olivia get to his place. And then Eric Bana finally gets there. Actually got there before them. And they have a dinner where Eric Bana has a gun. And you think maybe something deep in terms of dialogue or in terms of development is going to take place. Nah. The only bit, to be fair, is Charlie Hunnam admitting what he did in prison. He apologizes, and Chris Christopherson saying, you still have a place at this table, son. So, hey, you're still my son. Even though we barely got this, oh, they don't like each other, or they have this animosity towards each other. Other than maybe like a brief bit where Sissy Spacek is talking to Charlie Hunnam on the phone. That's what I mean. It seems like it thinks it's going to have these bigger ideals, but it's not really that set strongly in the script. So maybe if you built those moments up instead of this bit with this random family that Eric Bana is sitting there with, or try to have this love story that didn't really work, or you just don't have the girl and her dad, the sheriff, that whole wannabe dynamic that really goes nowhere. Take those scenes out and just have Tree Williams as a sheriff looking for these folks. You didn't even need the daughter character. You really didn't. Could just have Tree as a sheriff looking for the criminals. That's it. Keep it simple. It's like they try to have too many of these family dynamics so that none of them get built up as strongly as it could have. Spoiler alert, you get in the finale where Eric Bana, Eric Bana ultimately puts a knife in Charlie Hunnam's hand because Charlie hit Eric Bana because Eric tried to hit Olivia Wilde. Chris Christopherson gets pissed off and he gets hit. Treat Williams comes by. Before that, his daughter, the other cop, has come by. When Treat comes by, Eric Bana has dressed up the daughter in his clothes, so Treat shoots, and she had a bulletproof vest on, but he's shot and then he gets wounded. Charlie Hunnam and Eric Bana have a bit of a fight outside, in which Olivia Wilde says, "Hey, stop, stop, he's still my brother." But then Eric Bana tries to shoot Hunnam, and Olivia Wilde shoots her brother. And then that's kind of it. Because you're going, well, then what? Olivia Wilde, will she be arrested? Because if she was involved with this robbery. Yeah, you get the idea that Charlie Hunnam didn't kill the guy, but will that matter? As in, will he still be arrested? Will he have broken his parole in some way? Will that guy have lied and bullshitted his way? So he'll still go back to jail? Thus those two won't be an item anymore? The step between Treat Williams and his daughter, will things get better? Will things get worse? Will things change? None of that is really... Nothing really comes to fruition on that front. So the plot feels a bit empty when there's really no resolution to any of those dangling threads. I mean, the only thread not dangling is Eric Bana's character gets killed, and the ambulance and other cops are there, and there you go. So, I mean, it's not like the worst movie ever. At times, when some action pieces are happening, it's not too bad. There's a bit where Eric Bana is fighting this guy in order to get his snowmobile, and the fact it takes place during the snow. There's a decent little background, and it's not badly shot. Like I said, there's some good looking shots of the cinematography, some wide open shots of the snowy road, and the whole snow aspect at least gave it a little bit of character and flavor, so it didn't seem bland or dull of the when you're watching it. At least you do have some good established actors like Chris Christopherson, even Eric Bana. So Charlie Hunnam's character is pretty bland, to be honest. But I never really cared for him as an actor. Even... Was he in the first Pacific Rim? I can't remember. See, it's not that he was bad, but he was... Compared to other people, he was just bland to me. I don't know. Like I say, it wasn't a horrible film, but it was kind of meh. I would never see it again. Kind of forgettable. I'm sure by next week I'll completely forgot about this film. Like I said, if they wanted the sheriff-daughter aspect, then develop it. Have some actual development of the characters. Have Treat Williams be a three-dimensional character instead of just an asshole. Olivia Wilde and Charlie Hunnam. Maybe not go for the typical fucking love story. I think it would be more worthwhile if it was like a friendship, and then it's not her turning on her brother wasn't just because of Charlie Hunnam, but because her realization that what she's doing is wrong, or her brother's controlling, or her brother is a bad person, or she sees the family dynamic of Charlie and Chris and Sissy, and how Charlie's a flawed person, but him and Chris have these conversations, and wow, look how they're getting well together and they're understanding. But then she thinks back to her conversation with her brother, and things are very different and toxic, or whatever the hell you want to put into it. And is that just this wonky love story that I don't buy because they fell in love in looks like 5 minutes? And there's even a point where they have sex, and then she tries to leave in a truck, and he's coming out half-assed naked. He's like, get away from the truck. I'm like, well, you don't own the lady, so technically she can do whatever the fuck she wants, and you're out there half-assed naked in the cold with your Charlie horse hanging out. And again, it just I see actors like Tree Williams and Chris Christopherson and Sissy Spacek, and they're given not much to do to the point that anybody try to play these characters. I mean, just a waste. It's just a waste of a good cast. Yeah, not an awful movie, but just for the most part, aside from again a little bit of the snowmobile chase and the little fight here and there, kind of a dull affair. So I think the strip needed a few bits of reworking. Maybe trying to do a bit too much with these family dynamics and have fewer ones and develop them stronger. Not just kind of the bare minimum, at least to me. But with that said, thanks for watching. Take care, and we will see you later. Bye bye.